In his vast network, I'm never alone. With everybody, a sense of peace. In this little haven, worry, he's gone. Blue light, keep the pace. Digital steps, gotta be guiding through night to night. Oh, take solace, warm embrace. Keep up in the day, your road night. Never gotta be good in the tangled digital ways. Our eyes of a road, coast like the city. In his cyber symphony, there's no pity. Soft clicks and horns of one melody, guiding me to where I long to be. Come I gotta make it in the tangled digital mating with your bright display. Every key sometimes a riddle, every screen a new day. So late your dreams, all that carry me away. With fuzzy secret coming as the rain hits so chorus, I'll never feel away. Come I got like Chick-fil-A in this world called binary. Guiding my heart through the road that was endlessly. Struggle like it be safe in your warm digital embrace.
Wired in the land of ones and zeros, where I stand guard, I'm your hero. Navigating the complex sea, digital world, it's you and me. Stepping through the codes I climb, in a world where secrets hide. I'm the gateway to every side, keeping data safe day and night. I'm the sentinel, strong and true. Hackers can't break through. I'm the shield keeping you whole. In the cyber party I control. Through the firewalls I'm alive, dodging threats with every bite. Built to protect with layers deep in this web of life I keep. I'm the sentinel, strong and true, navigating safely through. With my guard up, you'll stay free. In the cyber, you trust in me. Every click I guide you right through the maze under electric light. Guarding keys, those vaults of gold, safer than the storing you hold. Riding the currents of a hidden stream, defending your dreams from a hacker's scheme. Empowered by trust, fortified strong in this connected world where you belong.
Welcome to the weekly cybersecurity briefing. In the interest of making the best of everyone's time, cybersecurity briefings are always kept to 15 minutes. If you have any questions, please ask them in the chat and they will be answered after the briefing. Without any further ado, here is your host, Ron Trotto.
Good morning. It's 10 a.m., March 7th, 2025. Thanks for being here for the cybersecurity briefing. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about insurance and the truth about insurance that you probably don't want to hear because, let's face it, we pay a lot of money to insure our businesses, to insure our health, to insure our cars. to insure a lot of things in our life. And insurance is one of those things that you really don't need, well, until you need it, right? So most business owners don't really look at it as a risk mitigating factor. They just look at it as a required expense. Cybersecurity insurance is not different than that. You don't need it until you need it. And when you do, chances are, if you're the average business, you're not going to get full again. You're not going to be made right. And there's reasons for this. I have to preface this with I am not an insurance agent, do not sell or recommend insurance or anything like that. But we are going to be talking a little bit about the observations of basically why cyber insurance isn't going to perhaps, save your business like you think it will. There's a few things around this, a few areas that we need to discuss. The first one is let's talk about what a claim process looks like. What people think it looks like and what it actually looks like, the difference is very clear, especially when we do what we call a roundtable or a walkthrough of what it looks like when you get breached. What does that look like? And we sit around the table and we walk through the scenario. And the insurance actually is the first part of the conversation. Why is that? Because if you have cybersecurity insurance, basically we have to treat that as a crime scene, and your cyber insurance provider is the master detective, if you will. We have to go through them to get the whole process started. They have to assign an incident response team. They have to make the decision on when things can be done and how they can be done. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't do some back end mitigation, as long as it doesn't impact that. And that's, again, falls into the planning thing we talked about and we continue to talk about. That's why it's important to have that plan. It's important to have these tabletop exercises to be aware of what an incident looks like, because a lot of people just think, well, our stuff gets down, our stuff comes back up, and we're back and rolling. And it's the farthest thing from the truth. You're looking at 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5, 6 weeks to go through this process. And, again, that's something you need to discuss with your insurance agent, because you're going to want to have business continuity coverage for that time as well. That will be covered when you have a cybersecurity event. Very important things. And this is why we have those tabletops. This is also why I'm kind of having the difficult conversation once again, as we do in these cybersecurity briefings, around what cybersecurity kind of is, what it isn't, what its purpose is. We're going to pretend for a second that you haven't listened to any other of the cybersecurity briefings ever. And we're going to talk about one truth that business owners just, they hear it, but I'm not sure that it's acceptable. And that is, no matter what, if your business collected data, you're responsible for that data. If your business uses systems, has access to vendors and client systems, stuff like that, you are on the hook if there's an event. Even though you're the victim, you were the one that got attacked, you're still on the hook to make things right for everyone else to a certain extent. You own the risk. No one can take that risk on for you. You can't delegate that risk. Maybe you can hire a CISA or a CTO or, some other kind of fall guy for it and kind of pin it on them. But still, the company's the one that's going to fault. At the end of the day, the company, the ownership of that company is going to be the one that's called to task on why they didn't do the things that they needed to do. Now, if you are doing all those things and you got hit anyway, well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. You're going to have a much shorter downtime. It's going to be a very less impactful event. It's going to be contained, more than likely. Nothing's guaranteed in this world. But more than likely, everything's going to be small, much smaller scale, much smaller impact, much smaller everything. Because if you're doing it right, you've planned. And that's kind of my soapbox. If you haven't listened, this is what a lot of our cybersecurity briefings are about. Ownership, understanding. that cybersecurity is an ownership. It's a business issue. It's not a technology issue because it's risk and how you manage the risk. And I know these are grown up topics for enterprise, right? No, no, you have to understand now when you open up, when you put that piece of slate outside your door and says open for business, you've accepted risk that, most likely you are completely unaware that you've accepted. That's the bad news. That's the truth. Cybersecurity is, or cybersecurity insurance is a last ditch effort to get you at least back on the track of being whole again. Most companies never get 100% whole again. Why? Myriad of reasons. Number one, if you've been attacked once, your likelihood of getting attacked again through the roof. Number two, the financial and morale and reputation impacts to the business are going to impact that business. If you're on a trajectory, it's very rare that you see a company just pick it up by the bootstraps and continue on the trajectory. They get impacted by events. Even large companies, even these huge breaches, I haven't even covered because I'd like you to sleep at night, but I haven't even covered in our cybersecurity briefings all of the stuff that's been going on. The last 3 weeks have been crazy with the amount of breaches that have been reported. Never mind the ones that haven't been reported. Every day, businesses are getting hit. Every single day. And many of them don't even know it until it impacts what? The bank account. They don't understand that something's happened until it's kind of too late, right? So coming back into cybersecurity insurance, the reason we have that is it is literally the last risk mitigation piece that we have on the shelf. And its intent is not to reset and get everything back to normal. Its intent is to get the business essentially viable again. The impact is going to be felt. The impact is going to be real. If you want to know what that impact's going to be, you need to get a cybersecurity risk assessment. Start with that. Identify where the risks are. Then you can go as an owner and figure out how that risk impacts your business. Even the very best business consultants don't know your business, at least, within a reasonable amount of time and effort. They don't know your business as well as you do. You're going to have to help those people, or really they're going to help you identify risks, but you're going to have to help them understand how that impacts actual operations to the business. And sometimes the business owners don't even know. How do I know? I've been through this so many times. A lot of businesses don't fully understand because they're small businesses, not enterprises. They don't fully understand their org chart. They don't fully understand the product that they deliver or service that they deliver. They don't understand the little details of that and where all these little blockages in the supply chain, in the services and data, like they don't fully comprehend how one little thing can hold up everything, off the cuff. When they sit down to think about it and work through these things, then they have a really good understanding of their business. And I would argue that it makes a better business to begin with, because once you understand that, I can't tell you how many times I've had owners aha time, right? They get the aha moments. That's why we're having an issue with this. Oh, that explains this. And we're dealing with cybersecurity, and they're recognizing that they've got core business issues that they hadn't realized because they were in it, right? They were looking at it from the owner perspective of delivering the service as opposed from kind of a removed viewpoint and vantage point where we're discussing how things operate inside of their business. Once they have that additional vantage point, a lot of times the aha switch goes off and like, oh man, thank you. This is so helpful. And we repeat this. We do tabletops as often as the business risk profile demands it. So if insurance isn't going to get us full again, if they're not going to get us right again, then why do we have cybersecurity insurance? Well, it is the thing that probably will kind of save your business if you've done a reasonable amount of work ahead of time. It's going to cover some of those costs involved. Remediation is expensive. There's a skill gap that we have right now, a talent gap in that skill set. So there's that. There's high demand. So there's that. And the other thing is, the insurance companies, they're going to have you kind of go through their risk management or their incident response people. Why? Because their incident response people work for them. Think about that for a second. Whether or not you're going to get coverage or not, that coverage is going to get denied, is on a third party. And I'm not saying that all third parties are not professional and don't do their job, but I'm just saying in most scenarios, do you want someone that's working for the opposition that doesn't want to cover a claim? Do you want someone working for them to determine whether or not they're covering a claim? Worse yet, we have three insurers I know of already that are going down the path of trying to get MSPs out of the business of securing data. What? Why would they do that? Well, because they've invested in MSSPs. They are managed security providers. They've invested in them to build out a platform that you're going to get a 40% discount on the insurance and make it back up on their hands in this business. I don't even understand how that's legal, yet it's happening. Now, there's good reason why that's happened. If you listen to I think it was last week's cybersecurity briefing, we were talking about why your MSP, may not have your back and why that may be not their fault. The insurance agencies are looking at MSPs as if they are, the titans and they are in charge of security of a business. The sad reality in that is two-part. Number one, yeah, there's a lot of MSPs that aren't doing the security thing, but they never said that they were. Hopefully, they didn't say that they were. If they did and they're not doing it right, that's a different conversation entirely. But the other side of that is you, business owner, keep on telling us, the provider, how to do our work. That worked back in the day. I only need this computer and that computer fixed. But now we're being treated almost like physicians, where we have to present, to an insurance company why we didn't have coverage in certain areas when the business owner said, I don't want that. But the insurance company's saying, well, you know better because you're the professional. Why? How does this exist? Well, it exists because we sadly have not had a really good voice in the lobbying in Washington. We haven't had a really good voice there, and it's kind of coming to nip us a little bit in the behind. I've been part of a couple of organizations that are trying to get some foothold in that area, but honestly, guess what? MSPs are small business owners too. They're barely keeping up with the technology improvements and everything that are going on with AI and cybersecurity and all this stuff. To take your top brass and send them to Washington to go lobby for something, it's not part of most people's time allotment inside their company. So, it's suffering from the same thing. But, think about that for a second. You're paying money to an organization that's going to take more money because they have a vested interest in something else. That just sounds ludicrous to me. So watch out for that. If you have an insurance company that's going to either require or play that game, be very cautious. And I can't really speak to the efficacy of the services that are being provided. But from a distance, I could tell you that most of the MSPs that I work with, their security programs are light years beyond what is being considered, a good coverage. It's just not checking the boxes, and I don't understand how that's going to happen in a compliance-driven world. So I hope, we're at our 15 minutes. I keep these at 15 minutes or less. I hope this shed some light on a couple of sad truths here that, owner, you need to take ownership of the risk. Sorry, it's where we're at. B, understand that insurance isn't there to save you. It is there to just kind of get you back up onto the path. And I hope that came across clearly. And again, not an agent, not licensed to talk about your coverage or anything like that. Just talking about observations that I've seen in the last, especially the last 3 years, as we dealt with all of this craziness. All right, let me see if we have any questions coming in. Do I recommend cyber insurance? Yes, I do for most companies if it makes sense. Again, not an agent, but in many scenarios, if you're doing things right, you get a lot more run out of that, getting your boots picked up and back on the track. If you do that pre-planning part, again, impact will be smaller. The overall cost and downtime will be smaller. So yes, cyber insurance is going to help, especially if you're in alignment. It's highly unlikely you're going to get denied a claim. So all those factors put together, you actually look attractive to an insurance company because you have, excuse me, lower risk. So keep that in mind. All right. All right, that's yep, same question I had, and I think someone's typing because I'm seeing something happening here. Maybe not. They changed their mind. Hopefully, we answered the question. All right. Well, as always, if you're watching a recording of this or you're slow to type like I am, just put your comments still down below. We will reply. Always do. I appreciate you. Look forward to you next week participating once again in our 15-minute cyber security briefing. Same bad time, same bad channel. Have a great week, everyone.